How did you get into financial consulting?
Department of Labor statistics indicate it's one of the fastest growing professions.
Okay. I like the balance of it. Plus, my dad was an accountant. You know, he had the whole shtick. The, like, dorky pocket protector and...
I have a pocket protector.
What's your last name? Rubenfeld. All right, so you may not need an accountant.
All right, welcome back to Not Another Accounting Podcast. Episode, what number?
Episode A.
Episode A, correct. Thanks, Jesse. I'm your host, Tom Hetner.
A for accruer.
A for accruer. True, this is the accruer episode. Every episode is the accruer episode.
Next episode will be episode C. Then we'll have another episode C.
All right. So I'm your host, Tom Hetner. This is Not Another
In the second
Accounting
episode
Podcast.
C, we have to talk about the importance of unique identifiers in accounting systems.
Yeah, I think by episode C, I might be able to get through the intro without stumbling through it. So tune in for that.
But episode C or episode C?
I think we're going to release both at the same time.
Okay.
And put an Easter egg in one of them.
Okay.
First
Yeah.
person
Watch
to listen
both.
to it. So
Watch
you have
both,
to
yeah.
watch both, but
Yep.
like whoever guesses right. Cool.
Actually, there's going to be 2 episode R's too, now that I think about it.
Why are there 2 episode R's?
Because there's 2 R's in accruer.
Oh, I'm not even paying attention. I thought we were just doing the alphabet in a random order.
No, that's why I'm saying episode C. We're going to do episode A today, then episode C,
This is how you podcast,
then
folks.
episode C,
Yeah.
then episode R, then U, then E, then an R.
Yep.
And I'm
This week's
saying in the-
topic is explaining the alphabet.
Yeah. And it's discontents.
I don't know if we even need to introduce ourselves anymore because I think everyone probably just shut off the episode. But for
Yeah.
those that are still listening,
Takes the pressure off.
I think I already said my name, but I'm your host, Tom. This is Not Another Accounting Podcast, NAP for short, because it's the only accounting podcast that won't put you right to sleep. Joined as always with Jesse Rubenfeld, my boss. I almost said Rubenfeld first. We're really off to the races with this one. Jesse, how are you doing?
Thank you, Tom. You're fired.
Oh, fuck. I got some good topics for you today.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. Well, the topic that everyone's really going to want to tune in for is accounting versus accounting practice automation. We talk about this all the time. It's so important to understand what you're paying for when you're paying someone to automate something or when you're seeing these buzzwords fly around. But before that, I have a segment called The News Today, Jesse. And then we're also going to talk about, would you rather teach an accountant to code or an engineer accounting? So those are going to be our 3 topics today.
All right.
But the news today, we're going to kick that off.
I did not read the news this morning, so this is going to save me time.
Well, that's good. So the news today, it's a little bit of a double entendre because the way that people consume the news today is just reading headlines. No one actually reads anything anymore. They just see something and react to it in a very visceral way, normally just to get mad at stuff. So I'm just going to read a couple of headlines and I don't really read the articles, but we'll just react to them.
Okay.
It's also, another play on the news today because I don't actually think these stories are from today. I think they're just like something that I saw today. But people do that now. Everyone just like sees a story and is like, I'm going to repost this and get mad about it, even though it happened a year ago. So we're just going to go ahead with the news today and we'll see how it goes. All right.
Let's see how,
This first one really, and this is accounting news. Everything's accounting related. All right. So this first one really made me laugh. And not to get political, but it says Trump accountant testifies that he didn't get enough info. That was the headline. No shit.
What
buddy.
accountant? Yeah, seriously.
What
accountant ever got enough info?
What account? Yeah. Well, he who has not accepted a half-baked answer from a client and just pushed it through, cast the first stone. That's like, I'm so excited to hear if they didn't fulfill my PVC request on time as a valid defense.
I filed the tax return with uncategorized expense as a line item. It was a few $1 million, but I didn't get the answer, so
I didn't
that's
get
how I
enough
filed
info.
it.
I mean, that's such a hilarious answer. Just I don't know. I didn't get it. Like that's literally like what an intern does when you are hiring them to do like audit for the first time. I don't know. I just copied last year. I didn't have any other info.
That's right. Precedent. It's all based on precedent.
All right, here's one for you. Can compliance survive with so many saying that the future of accounting is in advisory services? Experts weigh in on whether there will be room for more traditional services. What do you think about that?
Compliance. What is compliance? Audit?
Yeah,
Tax?
like audit work. Yeah, audit work and tax work and stuff like that. I
Okay.
think there's always going to be more. There's always going to be compliance work. Like,
Yeah.
in what world would there not be more compliance work? Like, you're gonna,
Yeah. Like
I'm
stock
so,
audits.
yeah. I'm so curious how they're gonna be able to say, oh yeah, when I told AI to do something, it did it correctly. It did it in line with my expectations. There's gonna be so much
You're
compliance
such
work.
a hater of AI, Tom. I hope it doesn't turn out to take your job or my job because, wow, yeah, I do. I agree. It's good. It's bad at lots of stuff.
Dude, I'm gonna shove AI in a locker. I'm so sick. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's like, whatever. I'm not
We
gonna.
We need to get AI in our product somehow.
Yeah, we'll have it write really shitty emails for us, and then that'll be a good product. All right, here's the next one. Top cities to be an accountant. This list blew my mind.
Okay.
Give me your.
Wait, so we went past the headlines on this one? We went into the TLDR?
No, the headline was just top cities to be an accountant.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the whole headline.
Okay,
But I actually opened it up because I needed to see this list.
Okay.
Top 3. Give me. I have the top 10 in front of me. What do you think What do you think top 3 are?
Houston, Dallas, and Austin.
Yeah, right, dude.
It's Austin, Dallas, Houston.
No Texas even on the list.
Oh, that's not.
No, New York's not on the list either.
All right, I'm all ears. Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, number 1.
What?
Good call. Yeah, Salt Lake City, number 1.
Huh. What's okay?
I have no idea. I have
Yeah.
no idea. All right, number 2, Miami.
Okay.
There's no way that everyone in Miami is a TikToker. There's no way that people are doing accounting in Miami anymore. Number 3,
right.
Tucson.
Arizona. Okay, that's in Arizona.
All right, I'll rattle off the rest because they're ridiculous. Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay, maybe Tulsa.
Mobile, Alabama.
No. Here's the next one is
Portland, Maine.
Honolulu. Honolulu is number 6. Who moves to Hawaii and becomes an accountant?
I don't know, but I can kind of understand that. If you're an accountant and you want to be an accountant in a place,
Fair.
where would you like to be an accountant?
That's fair.
Honolulu, sure.
Springfield,
Vancouver,
Denver, Albuquerque,
these are
and
US cities
Oklahoma
only.
City.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't check if the list was biased. If it was
LA,
national
no
list.
California cities?
No California cities.
Okay.
Doesn't make any sense.
We
Top
should have
cities
stuck
to be
with the
in town.
headline. It's obviously Dallas, Houston, Austin. I'm sticking with that.
New York not being on there is absurd.
Yeah, I agree.
Or any of like the major
Or
metropolitan areas.
Houston,
I mean, Miami.
New York.
All jokes
That's
aside, I get the Miami piece. I do get the Miami piece. I
Mm.
feel like a lot of tech startups are moving down there, and a lot of businesses
Yeah,
are moving down there.
agreed. We have some clients there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the news today. What do you think
Okay.
about that segment?
I feel enlightened. I'm
Good.
moving to Honolulu.
You're gonna. Oh, cool. Can I come?
I mean, we're accountants.
Do you want to share
That's
a bunk bed?
clearly.
Are you
Yeah.
top? Are
Do
you
you
top
want-
bunk? Or
I
bottom
was
bunk?
gonna say I'm a bottom bunk guy. I'll be on bottom. Hope that's cool.
That's fine with me. I'll climb up there. I could probably
Okay.
just jump and like pull myself off. It'll be a good exercise.
I feel like I'd fall off and hurt myself. So
All right. Well, let's do our next segment: accounting automation versus the old SmackDown. This is a rivalry as good as Tom versus AI. This is accounting versus accounting practice automation.
okay.
I will do a mini rant, and then you can, because I'm
Respond.
going to get worked up over this.
Of course. Get worked up. I like it.
Everybody says tech enabled. Did you read Catcher in the Rye?
No.
No?
Yeah, I can't believe it, but no.
Oh my goodness. Holden Caulfield. Everybody is a phony. I am the
Okay.
Holden Caulfield of accounting automation. Everybody is the phony. Everything is fake. Everybody,
Yes.
oh, tech enabled. When you hear an accounting firm is tech enabled, you need to ask them this question: what are you automating for me, and how are you automating it? If they can't answer that question point blank, think again. Seriously, that's a serious red flag for me, right? And I'm not putting down people that, just like their MO is finding the best piece of tech. That's awesome. If you like, knowing what to automate and what good automation looks like is just as important as being able to actually automate it yourself. That is
Totally.
such a valuable skill to be able to say, this is what needs to be solved, and this is how I'm going to solve it, or this is the problem that I want to solve, and I'm going to find somebody to solve it for me. That's a really, really valuable skill, because I've seen people who are automation experts try to automate processes that have no business being automated, and you don't get any bang for your buck. Like, you over engineer something. So I'm going to preface, whatever I'm going to say next with that. But accounting automation is automating actual accounting work, booking journal entries
entries.
automatically, reconciling automatically,
Entries
updating
automatically.
automatically. Accounting practice automation is useful, but it belongs in its own category. Automating the steps in the process. Did I get the document from the client? If not, automatically remind them. Did the person who prepared the work paper submit it for review? Notify me. If I have to give them comments, send it back. To accounting practice automation. And there's such an important distinction because, I've had so many conversations with prospective clients of our accounting group who says, well, how do you compare with this other company? Like, how do you compare with, right? Well, they have, no, they don't. Like, they have a dashboard that's literally just Excel with a different font and wallpaper on top of it to make you think that you're using some proprietary, like, that's not going to move the needle.
Or what about they built their own general ledger, and they have a place to store they spent a lot of money rebuilding QuickBooks. No thanks. What about same thing?
Yeah.
What about they're not even around anymore?
If you're a business and you're trying to work with an accounting firm or scout out an accounting firm, again, just really understand what tech they're using. Who is it benefiting? Right? Like, if they're organizing their tasks and they're working more efficiently, how is that translating to you?
Yep.
How does the automation that's being used benefit the client? If you are a client, you should understand that. You should not get caught up in fancy buzzwords
Like AI?
because, like, you're going to keep provoking me about the AI stuff. Accounting practice automation loves AI too.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
mean,
give me an engagement letter for this client.
it makes sense though. Like, the amount of times I've seen people literally sit there,
And,
not at
copy
our
the
firm,
details
in,
in.
or just like write an email for like 40 minutes. Yeah,
Sure.
that's real. But like, don't hire those people in the first place, right? Like, that's a totally different issue. Accounting automation is just such it's such an important distinction. That's my rant. What do you think?
I mean, look, I think accounting automation is really good for professionals that do a little less work on each client and have a lot more clients.
Yeah.
So that it's really important to minimize the interaction that is not value add.
That's
right.
fair.
So I can see where practice automation, if you're doing 500 tax returns in your shop, where, every little, like, if the actual tax return work takes 5 or 6 hours,
Yeah.
and the engagement letter and the billing and these things take manually 2 or 3 hours, and now it takes minutes, you've meaningfully put a dent in your, so I definitely think there's a place for it. In what we do, we're helping the people who are doing the books, which is just inherently, like, there's not a lot of bookkeepers that have 500 or even 100 clients. There's a much greater time spent. So the automation needs to focus on, I'm not saying there can't also be automation helping the tax return preparer prepare the tax return, but we have a much higher ratio of actual work to business dealings. We have a contract, there's automated monthly billing already, but we use some practice automation. It's just less important. It's less core to our value add. How does it benefit the client? At the end of the day, we spend less time doing their books, which makes their fees lower. That's how.
accounting automation and accounting practice automation together make you a superpower of a firm. The real challenge or the real risk is foregoing true accounting automation just to have accounting practice automation around that process, right? If you can fully automate accruals, as you can with Accruer, but instead you opt for a
Schedules.
workflow in your accounting practice automation to a little bit, better organize the way you do accruals.
How to
right?
present
You
the
are-
schedule, for example. Hey,
Exactly.
present
Then
the
you're
schedule. Here's
not-
a chart. Yeah.
Right. Then you're embracing tech in like a very half-baked way, right?
Right.
It's like buying a bunch of store ingredients, right? And like frozen ingredients and being like, oh, I cooked a meal, right? Like, I don't know. That's actually a really shitty analogy. So
Wait, you might have to repeat it now that I know it's
Uh,
shitty. What? How is it like a meal?
they can rewind. No, they can rewind. They can rewind.
Okay. They can
But yeah,
I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't want to come off as just like railing against accounting practice automation. I think it's important to understand, like, why does the admin work exist? Does it exist because it is truly a part of my practice, or am I putting a half-baked automation process in place because it feels okay and I can kind of say that I'm doing something a little bit more efficiently instead of just going the extra mile to fully eliminate the process in the first place? That's really my closing thought on it.
Fair enough. Does that mean I can't have any more thoughts? Or do I get a closing thought too?
I think we are just going to go back and forth to who has the last word for the rest of our lives. This might be a never-ending episode.
Okay, well, here's my next closing thought.
All right.
There's something lower stakes about not like choosing to book the journal entries
Mhm.
is taking on a whole bunch of additional challenge. And if it's not the core of what you're doing, then I think if it helps you sell your product, I'm thinking here of, payroll platforms, like Gusto or JustWorks that have, a nod to a QBO integration,
Sure.
but not really the control that you want. Versus, a company that's building an integration that's going to book entries and update the entries if the fact pattern around those entries changes, right? You've got to deal with validation, right? Oh, I've got to get the name of the account right. The name of, you've got to, if you screw it up, it's much worse. But it's also, we're talking about enormous time savings if you can get it right. And that's what the Holy Grail is, obviously.
Yeah. All right. One more closing thought.
In closing.
Yes. All right. No, I have one more topic for real, and then we'll close. We'll close the whole episode after this.
Okay.
I really got to work on these transitions. Maybe I can get some accounting practice automation to help me manage each step in the podcast.
Yeah.
I can't keep it straight. All right. This is a good.
I still think we need one of those black and white clipboard things that clips between scenes.
I'm down with that.
But I want the one that has the digital sign on it, like the digital time, not just one where they write in chalkboard. I think the digital ones are much cooler. We can probably find that.
Yeah,
we get a Finoptimal branded one.
I like that. So I had a good conversation with someone yesterday who inspired this topic for me. Isaac Perdomo. Isaac, sorry if I'm butchering your name here. I think that's probably right. We had a good
Perdomo?
Perdomo, I think it is.
Perdomo?
Maybe. I'm sure he'll comment.
Perdomo? That's all the combinations I can go. There's only 3 syllables. Perdomo. It is.
Yeah.
Isaac,
meet Jesse. He likes to say your name. No, but we had a good conversation. He's got a growing business, and we're talking about accounting and engineering, one of our favorite topics. Would you rather train an accountant to code, or would you rather train an engineer how to, fully understand accounting? What's your take?
I guess since I sort of come from, well, I don't know. I feel like
we both come from the same background and there's bias, but
I did like to write code as a kid, but certainly the first thing I got paid to do was accounting. And to make my job.
What was the first piece of code you wrote as a kid?
There was
And
a there was a
how old were you?
there was a programming language called HyperTalk, which was there was
Okay.
a framework called HyperCard, which I think was an Apple product, and this
Okay.
is early '90s. This is sixth grade for me, or seventh grade. My science fair project was to build a soundboard where you could
Nice.
like click different buttons and it would make like, a duck sound
Hell
or a
yeah.
bell, and there was coding involved there where you could have buttons and, on mouse over, you could have it highlight
Nice.
and on. So I did have some exposure to it, and
I
enjoyed it,
started
but
coding the same time as you. Not the same year, but the same
the
age.
same. Okay.
Sixth grade,
Yeah.
HTML, custom MySpace layouts.
Oh
I
yeah.
was
The
like
web, the
12.
web wasn't around for me at that point. So,
So we're more aligned than we
that's,
think on this topic.
yeah. Okay. So you were into it. Like you're like, wow, this is really cool. I
Yeah.
can do really cool stuff. Um,
It's more like, wait, this isn't that hard. Like it seems
Yeah.
like this mystical thing that you can't ever. Oh, do
Yeah.
they do it? How do the
Yeah.
buttons work? And you go, oh, it's like
Yeah.
a couple of letters and like
I
a
can
couple of
visualize what
less
that
than
code looks like.
signs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
easy.
It's funny. I had lunch with a good friend of mine, and he was explaining to me that there's the millennials, and then there's Gen X,
Mhm.
but then people have sort of identified in a middle generation called the Zennials, as in
Okay.
the X/millennials
Okay.
that grew up in an analog world, but they really kind of hit their prime in a digital world. Like they were in the computing revolution,
Yeah.
right?
I think I'm probably in that thing. In
I
that
don't think
group.
so, because I'm in
No?
that thing and you're younger than me. I
I'm a
think you
millen
grew up having a phone.
No, I didn't grow up having a phone.
You didn't grow up having a phone.
Well, I mean, grow
Okay.
up. What does grow up having a phone mean?
I mean, like when you were a teenager, I had a brick
Yeah,
cell phone in my car.
fair.
Like I had a brick,
Yeah.
right? And that was whereas I assume you had a cell phone, if not an iPhone, by high school. Is that a fair?
We were
Right?
just having this
Email.
conversation. I had BlackBerry until 10th grade. I got the iPhone 3 in 11th grade. So yeah, I had
Okay.
a cell
So,
phone
but
starting in 6th grade.
email was way a thing by that point.
Oh yeah,
Right?
dude.
The
When I was
web,
in,
the web was a fixture. You looked like when you were going
You're
out
right.
with someone in high school, you were Facebook stalking them before you went out. Is that fair?
I wouldn't use the S word, but
That's
sure.
that's a tough question. Are you still, like, there's no good answer to that question.
I'm not.
No, I didn't. Oh, you weren't using Facebook? No, I didn't stalk. Oh, you see
No,
what
I
it
wasn't.
was? Okay. But my point was,
Yeah.
okay, so maybe you can stake a claim to a little crossover because you had a BlackBerry. God help you.
No, you're right. When I was in 1st grade, I was on LimeWire ripping songs. Like, so
Oh,
you're right.
I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this.
It's true.
Okay, so the point is, everything is amazing to me.
Sure.
It's just amazing. Like, wow. I was around when like the screens became color instead of black and white. The cathode ray tubes
Okay.
became color, and
Okay.
word processing and things that are just like I did do it the other way.
Mhm.
Dial-up modems and
Yeah.
and like your username on Prodigy looked like a password looks now, right?
Okay.
And it's a string of digits and numbers, and that was
Yeah,
your
yeah.
username that you had to memorize. So I think that getting into so for me, my point here is when I enjoyed playing with it, and once I realized, all right, I'm doing this accounting stuff, I want to do more so I can make more money, add more value,
Mhm.
take more work off my boss's plate, whatever it is. Wow, there's so much opportunity to buy back time here. I guess some of it is
Yeah.
also driven by, wow, I'm spending my time doing this rote work that I can easily imagine automating, and
Yeah.
just like poof, tons of time. It's going to take me some time to learn how to do it, but this guy over here will teach me Perl, or at least point me to where to get started. So from my standpoint, having a job and then learning to code to automate your job is the best. So meaning I'd like to see accountants learn to code. A lot of our developers are what I'd call career switchers.
Yeah.
People who did something else and then started to code for fun. Like, oh, wow, I wonder if I can do this better
Yeah.
than I'm doing it. And then, wow, maybe I'll become a developer
When I
versus
think
someone who's, yeah.
no, like
I didn't have
you
my closing
go
thought yet. I'm still closing.
All right, go ahead,
Still
close.
closing. Still closing. Wait for it. All right, now I'm done.
Close.
Closed.
When I think would I rather teach an accountant to code or teach an engineer accounting, it's pretty simple and it boils down to this for me. And I'm gonna offend some people, but it's okay. I'm an accountant. I'm allowed to say it. Accounting is boring, and engineers are like,
How
they
did you
already-
get this job?
They already understand the sexy thing of coding, and I can do it, right? Like for accountants, for me personally, right? Automation was like an escape. I had mastered this subject, and I did not want to do it manually anymore. And automation's fun and exciting and it's like something you
It's
can stay
creative.
up late,
You're
wake
building.
up
You're
early.
building.
You can
Yeah.
do it on the like it makes you excited, and it's easier to get an accountant excited about automation than it is to get an engineer excited about accounting.
Maybe it's just
the truth.
chance.
It's the cold
right?
hard truth.
Because like automating is such a powerful function.
Yeah.
Whereas accounting is a narrow proficiency. So at some level, if you already have the power of automation, right, which is something that learning to code gives you,
Yeah.
that you can't automate without it, but it gives you really close to the metal access to what you're automating. Then choosing like, all right, I could choose all these different things to learn and do a deep dive on. Why am I going to choose accounting?
Yeah.
I'm spitballing here, but yeah, in short,
In short, I think we're on the same
or
page
in
here.
long,
In very long. I think it's a good topic though. It's a good conversation. This is a good episode. We talked about the news. We
I
talked
feel like you're
about
drawing it to
city.
a close. Does that mean we've exhausted the topic? I feel like I could talk about
Yeah,
it some more. Okay, that's fine.
I
We'll
think
save
we-
it for episode C, the second
we'll have to
episode C.
save it for episode C.
Yeah.
All right, cool. This has been Not Another Accounting Podcast. Tune in again in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.